Well, hey guys, welcome to the studio. Today, Marshall bought out by a Swedish company named Zound. There's a lot of details going around, and I have one premise for today. It's going to work. It will be actually near impossible for them to screw this up. Let's get to it. I was going back over some of the old videos that we've done, and it seems like there's always some kind of a Marshall 412 or a 212 or the half stack or the semi-full stack in the background in all my videos. They do get used here in the studio and live. And you've probably seen a lot of their recent offerings, but have you really seen all of them? Did you see this one? It's a Marshall Mini Cooper. And that's right, when you look at the stereo in this car, it's like a little Marshall. It's got a little pop-out amplifier in the back of it, and crazy how they're marketing this thing. And this is who I would like to talk about for 30 seconds. That's Henry Ford. Why am I talking about Henry Ford? Well, because he built this. Didn't even have a roof. It certainly didn't have air conditioning. It didn't have a stereo. It wasn't electric. His original vision for the automobile was this thing. And he built a major league company from this. And here's Jim Marshall. His original amplifiers did not have Bluetooth. They didn't fit into headsets, and you certainly didn't listen to them in your car. And so I want to pose a hypothetical question. What if Henry Ford's company had never put a roof on the car? What if they had never added air conditioning? What if they had never offered an electric model? What if they never did any of those things? Would the company be where it is now? When we think of a Marshall, you're probably envisioning something like this. The classic Marshall head and cabinet design. They sound great. It's on so many thousands of hit records that we probably would have to lose count before we figured out how many tracks this thing's actually on. And there's no reason for them to stop building things like this. Tubes are available. Transformers are available. The circuitry is actually pretty simple. The cabinetry is fairly simple. And it has the Marshall sound to it. And I'm very sure that will continue to be a thing. But for a lot of people, this is what might be their new thing. There's modeling, there's IR, there's hardware and software emulations that, honestly, I can't tell from my real Marshall back here. So let's say they do all the things. They maintain the legacy tube and transformer and cabinet style amp so you can continue to buy one the same way you could still buy a Gibson Les Paul for what it's worth or a Fender Stratocaster. But again, I ask the question, what if Henry Ford never put a roof on his car or added air conditioning or wide tires or electric or comfy seats? What if he never did those things? Where would that company be now? Well, not only has the industry been moving more towards software-based recording and, can we emulate a Marshall and that type of thing, but we've also been looking at lower wattages. Nobody needs the 100-watt Marshall full stack anymore. There's, outside of Madison Square Garden, where the hell can you play it? It's way too loud. We started seeing a lot of 20-watt, 22-watt, 15-watt, and there's a big movement towards 5-watt amplifiers and even 1-watt amplifiers now. So I think there's three paths that Marshall can take. They can kind of stick with more traditional, build the amp in the cabinet and have sidelines, headphones, and Bluetooth speakers and the type of stuff that Zound already makes and make a fair dollar. They've got a name that people will pay a premium for. It would be nearly impossible to screw that up. The second path that they have is kind of like what Gibson did. Keep the name on the products and have a tenuous regard for quality going forward. Gibson's run that model for years, and they've been in and out of bankruptcy, but you can't kill them. They will always be around because they can always stamp the Gibson name on whatever product, and somebody's going to buy it. And the third option is they would have to make such terrible decisions with this new company and these new products as to actually put the company out of business. I don't think that it's even possible to do that unless you intentionally wanted to run this company into the ground. I think you'd have to make a conscious effort to destroy this company. And I wonder if Henry Ford could have even envisioned this, the Mustang Mach-E. I've driven several Mustangs over the years. They were all, gas-powered muscle cars. And now it's an electric grocery getter. It's high performance, but I mean, that's like, family truckster sedan wagon to me. It doesn't capture muscle car. It doesn't capture the beauty of the Mustang. It's kind of on its own a fairly nice vehicle, though, and they're selling a ton of them. So if I had to bet, I would bet Marshall's going to be fine 10 years from now, 20 years from now. In my lifetime, I don't think we're ever going to see that company lose any traction. I don't think they're going to fall into disrepute. As long as there's studios that still run the old vintagey type of gear, and as long as you can still go see a live band and see a rack of Marshalls behind them, I think that this is something that the legacy is going to endure for. And I can't imagine them screwing this up to the point where it becomes a problem for a Marshall user. Well, guys, I had fun making the video. Don't forget to pop over to our Facebook group, Recording Tips, and we got a lot of work to do. Let's get to it.